Hi, it's Alex from Seraph Counselling and Psychotherapy. I thought I'd drop in and do a video. I've got an admin day today, and as I've just been catching up with some of my notes, reflection is a big part of that, and just thinking about, what was going on in the work with clients. And it became clear that I'm working with loss a lot at the moment, in some way, shape, or form. And whereas self-care is always kind of floating around in my mind, self-care is something that we've been doing a lot with clients and exploring ways in which they can promote their well-being. If they're feeling a little bit stuck and flat and need an input of energy in their life, looking at different ways in which that can work for them. I do it so that they've got something to take away. And I think that that's good to have like a continuum, like a thread really, that they take with them from the therapy room. Life takes over when they leave, and, processing the therapy or thinking about it and, contributing to it in all the minutes that they spend outside of the therapy room is sometimes really difficult to do. So giving them something that they can take away and do, I think, is a good way to kind of keep the thread going. But also the work tends to, when we explore well-being, it tends to turn into quite deep therapeutic content, and we end up exploring things like core beliefs that might keep them stuck from improving their well-being. So things like life is hard, comments that sound a little bit like there's nothing in my area like that, or I don't have childcare, or I don't have time. These things can keep us stuck and stop us from moving forward. In the therapeutic arena, we explore that. That being said, sometimes it's just that the knowledge isn't there, or the ideas aren't there as to how they can move forward. So I thought I'd do the video and give you 6 areas that are commonly associated with improving our well-being. I watched a video last week, I think it was, and it was by an American guy who founded a centre that does research on the healthy aspects of the mind. I think that's right. And he said that 60% of our well-being is associated with genes, circumstances, and what was the other one? Upbringing. So if 60% is kind of all just pushed aside and associated with something that we've got no control over, then that suggests that we've got a whopping 40% to play with and be responsible for. So that's a good place to start with. There's a big part of your life that you can take responsibility for and make a positive impact with. There was another piece of research which was on a TED Talk, and I can't remember the guy's name, but he introduced within his research a concept called the ladder of life, and he asked people in the research to rate themselves on this ladder, not being the bottom ladder and 10 being the top, and 10 being the most possible life imagined. He said that if people rated them 7 or above, that they were considered thriving. And what I thought was interesting was that the world population that were considered to be thriving was only 24%. And again, that could be, if you consider that 60%, that could be circumstances that people find them in, and genetics and upbringing and difficulties that they've had with that. But, another 40% then is things that we can take control over. And do people always have the awareness about what that might look like? So I'm going to start with body, that being the first one. So our physiology plays a really important part in our self-esteem and our well-being. So things like quality sleep, fluid intake, good nutrition, and exercise. Now, exercise, if we just focus on that one, that promotes sleep, and it promotes an increase in energy levels, and it also reduces the symptoms of depression due to the release of endorphins. So if we're thinking that there's 6 areas, body is the first one. Then comes the mind. So active body and active mind. So learning new skills, that is also positively associated and linked with our well-being. It could be that you're going back into education, it could be that you learn to play an instrument, or it could just be that you learn how to do a bit of DIY around the house. But kind of that focus on the mind and giving it something active to do is a step forward. The third one then would be community. Contributing to our communities gives us a sense of belonging, and it gives us a sense of purpose. So that clearly would have a positive impact on our esteem and well-being. The fourth one would be people, so making connections. Maybe this seems like, hi Marta, maybe this one seems like an obvious one, but again, if you have the philosophy that life is hard and there's not enough time in the day, it may be something that you hold back on and maybe could create a little bit more space for. Because as well as meaning that we don't spend as much time on our own, it reduces the likelihood that our thoughts and feelings kind of stay stagnated within our own body. So it kind of creates a release, it allows us to vent, it allows us to seek a different perspective, as well as just have fun. It doesn't always have to be about shifting processes. So that's people. We've got awareness as well. I think I mentioned this one in my Living in the Moment video, and I referred to feeling a little bit overwhelmed and going for a run, which I've not done in a very long time. So shifting your focus from something that may seem all-consuming. So if you're studying, I know that all the GCSEs and stuff have just been happening recently, and that can seem all-consuming. If you just take a little bit of time to shift your energy and your focus to something else and open your eyes to the bigger picture, that can, even if it's just a snippet of improved well-being, if you make that as a regular occurrence within your life, you will start to feel the benefit. And the last one that I want to mention is pride. So if we can have pride in something, either our efforts at recycling or a good deed or doing something well and caring, putting thought and effort into something, that also promotes our self-esteem and well-being. Now, I've just listed 6 areas that you can add to your life, but as a balance, I think it's also worth mentioning that it's worth considering if there's any areas of your life which would be incongruent to promoting your well-being. So things that might work against it. There could be really big things that might take a lot of time to change, like the job that you're in, or the hours that you work, your lifestyle, your partying, your relationship with drugs or alcohol, negative associates that kind of you feel that put on you or bring you down. So kind of think of the flip side as well. And as well as considering areas that are things that you can do to promote your well-being. Are there any areas in your life which are dragging you down that maybe you can change, or drop, or get rid of? So hopefully that's given you some food for thought. I'd love to hear your feedback if you've got any, and I will no doubt do another video soon. All right, take care. Bye bye.